Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Aston Williams coming to you again with another amazing episode of the Melanated Travelers Podcast. I got a special guest in the building. But before we get going, I really just truly want to encourage people, if you've truly been vibing with the show so far, please go ahead on. If you have an Apple iPhone or any iPhone Apple product, you can go to Apple Podcasts and write a review. Android, you can definitely write a 5-star review on Spotify or wherever else you listen. We all over. We are the number one travel podcast for a reason, because we inspire the African diaspora to travel the world. And I have another amazing guest to give us a different perspective, right? So I have Sheldon Francis, aka the Blind Traveler. Just to tell y'all a little bit about Sheldon, like we actually I knew of him, and I've always followed him, right? So I'm in the Passport Bros group. We're gonna get into that a little later, because I know that's gonna ruffle a little feathers, but that's how I was able to find this brother initially in the beginning, and then I actually started following him. I started looking at his content and actually became a fan. I truly believe that his message and everything that he stands for, the way he goes about his content, the way he inspires people, even though, he may have what other people seem as limitations, but this brother is limitless to the world. Let me just say that. That's a bar. That's a bar. I'm gonna have to put that on the shirt. So I'm gonna have to put that on the shirt. But he's limitless. So just to give y'all a little background, so and Shelter, you can dive deep into your story once we go in, brother. But
Yes,
just to give
sir.
you the proper intro, so he's originally from Canada. Actually, he's from Toronto, Canada. What considered the OVO or the six. If all the Drake fans out there, the six OVO. So he's from Canada, and he started traveling back in 2020. And his motto is, being blind is a blessing. We'll get into the story, but he lost his sight in 2010 from glaucoma, but that never stopped him from traveling the world. And his message is clear. You know, every his message is clear to the point where not only has he been traveling around the world, but he's also inspired other people to do the same, and have met so many people along the way. The world doesn't revolve. His motto, one of his mottos, is the world doesn't revolve around your neighborhood, and each country that you travel to is a new page. So, brother, I hope I gave you the intro that you deserve. Shelton
Yes,
Francis,
sir.
aka the Blind Traveler, brother. Welcome to the Melanated Traveler, my brother.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me on your platform, man. I really appreciate you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So let's get going. Let's get started. Let's just get the elephant out the room first,
Hmm.
right? Because you know how people are, man. Let's just get
Of
the elephant out the
course.
room. Like walk us through. I guess that process of losing your sight, but also not only losing your sight, but having a clear vision. That's what I want to focus on. But having a clear vision to say, you know what, I want to start traveling in 2020. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna let this stop me. I'm
yeah,
gonna I'm gonna
yeah.
keep pushing. Like, walk us through that, brother.
Of course, my brother. So, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Sheldon, the Blind Traveler, and yeah. So, like my brother was saying, I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada, and my mom, she migrated from Jamaica in 1970 to Toronto, and also my dad, he migrated from Ghana, Africa, in 1970 as well. And I was born in '76 here in Toronto, and yeah, in 2001, I was diagnosed with glaucoma. So my mom and dad have glaucoma. So on my mom's side, her dad, my grandfather, was completely blind. He went blind at 55 years old. And also my great grandmother also went blind. And on my dad's side, his dad, my grandfather on my dad's side, he actually went blind as well. And my dad is blind right now in one eye. He's 83 years old. And thank God my mom, she still has her eyesight. But yeah, when I was diagnosed in 2001, I went to a glaucoma specialist at the Toronto Western Hospital, and he pretty much told me that like I got like the double whammy. It kind of like skipped a generation, and I got the worst of it. So I started losing my peripheral vision in 2021 in my right eye. I was about 23 years old at the time. I'm 48 years old now, and yeah, I didn't listen to the doctor. The doctor told me that I need to take these eye drops religiously. 3 eye drops. I need to take them twice a day. And I tried my best, man, because I was young and I was dumb. And, I ended up, becoming a product of my environment. Ended up like living that street life. And the reason why I tell people that, being blind's a blessing, because I was literally going down a path of destruction. Grew up in a single parent home. My mom and dad never got married. And to tell you the truth, my mom actually found out while she was pregnant that my dad was already married with 2 kids. So that was like that was bad news for my mom. So they never got married, but grew up in a single parent home, became product of my environment, and I was going down a path of destruction, living that street life. So when I went blind in 2010, this is just my beliefs. Like, I believe that, God was like giving me a second chance at life, because like I had friends that, got murdered. I had a couple of friends that died, from like drug overdoses and stuff like that. And I believe if I didn't lose my eyesight in 2010, I probably would have ended up in jail, dead, or just like not living a good life, like the life that I'm living today, right? So to fast forward to now, in 2020, I had a friend that was traveling to the Dominican Republic, and during the pandemic, I actually fell into a depression, because we were locked down, and I was like pretty much locked down in my apartment. So I would say 3 months into the pandemic, I started feeling like a prisoner in my body, and also feeling like a prisoner at home, because like, there's just so many podcasts I can listen to, so many movies I can listen to, so many, videos I can listen to on YouTube, right? So I started to fall into the depression, and my homeboy pretty much told me, hey, get a passport and meet me in the Dominican Republic. He has a house there. He has a girlfriend that lives there, and he has a 9-year-old daughter there, right? So he told me, come down. Even though back then the Dominica had a 7:30 p.m. curfew, but at the same time, it's like I would prefer to be locked down in the Dominican Republic, on a beach,
Facts.
than being locked
Facts.
down here in a city, right? So I remember I got my plane ticket, and then at the end of August, I flew out to Punta Cana first, for 2 weeks. And I met him in Punta Cana, and no word of a lie, I felt this huge weight just lift off of my shoulders when I got out the airport. I literally felt this huge weight just lift off of my shoulders. And honestly, like, I said to myself, like, wow, who would have thought that, like I would be traveling, as a completely blind person, right? Because a lot of people would always say to me, hey, you're blind, like there's no point of you traveling because you can't see nothing, right? But when I got out the airport and I was like smelling the air, in the DR, and like just the sounds, and just the language, the food, it was just totally different. I just knew I was in a different country. You know what I mean? It was just so beautiful. Yeah.
My brother, you landed in a place that even though we know Christopher Columbus didn't come to America first,
Mm.
but he landed
Mhm.
in DR and his life was never the same after that.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I actually went to Punta Cana this past April. Actually, I was down there in Punta Cana. Actually, on my first time going to DR.
Okay. Okay. How did you like it?
Man, I loved it, man. I got to get into one of your videos. I seen you doing bachata. I know we talked off the record, but I know you do your thing on the dance scene as well. You're not
Yes,
ashamed to get
sir.
on that dance floor.
No, at all, at all, at all. Um, and the thing is, like, a lot of people do ask me, like, how can you say that, being blind is a blessing? And like I said before, I was going down a path of destruction, and it's not even about going on a path of destruction. It's just the fact that, like, the people who I have in my life today, I wouldn't have been friends with these type of people back in the days, like when I had my eyesight, right? I'm not gonna lie to you. After going blind, I didn't realize how superficial I was, and how I
Mm.
was also judging people as well, right? So I tell people now, like, when I meet people for who they really are and not how they look. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
like, the people in my life today, I can definitely call them friends, more than friends, family. Because when I lost my eyesight in 2010, I had hundreds of friends because remember I was a dope boy living that street life, right? And I was popular, I was one of those dudes. And you walk into the nightclub, everybody knows who you are. And as soon as I went blind, I ended up with a handful of friends that were there for
Yep.
me.
You
I
see
ended up
who
with a
really?
handful
Yep.
of friends. Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's why, like, even my barber, he always tells me, bro, it's so incredible how your life is today. Like, your life is better today than when you had your eyesight. You know what I mean? Because I didn't realize that all I was focusing on was just trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to keep up with my car, the condo I was living in. You know what I mean? Like, just living that life.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely, man. I seen. So you know what? How many countries have you visited so far, my brother?
So far I've been to like 17 countries. So this year I was in the Dominican Republic, Colombia. I was in Medellin. I was in Cali, and then I went to Cancun, Mexico. Been there twice, and then I was in Jamaica, and I just came back from Panama City. And then last year I was in Zurich, Switzerland, Germany, Berlin, Frankfurt, Offenbach, and then I was in Amsterdam, London, England, Prague, Czech Republic, and Iceland. And year before that, Costa Rica, Portugal, Cuba. Like I've been traveling, man. I actually
Oh yeah,
lived.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
You
actually
been?
lived in the Dominican Republic for 2 months in 2000. And excuse me. So I loved the Dominican so much the first time I went back and I moved there during the pandemic. So I was living there for 2 months, got a girlfriend, everything, man. It was nice.
Wow, wow,
Hmm.
man. Let's shift gears a little bit. So let's get into this Europe tip because a lot of people, and that's why I brought up about Passport Bros. Is not a knock. First of all, it's not a knock at any of the fellas. We all know about the big three. So the big three is Brazil, Dominican Republic, and Colombia. That's normally where most Passport Bros go. But for you to explore Europe, like kind of like break that myth because a lot of people think that Europe has the stereotype, like oh they don't like black people. You know, how can you go about breaking that myth? And how was your experience in Europe?
I was actually told that too, that European people are racist and yada yada yada, which is not true. I remember when I was going to Germany, even my mom was warning me, telling me, "Don't go to Germany, don't go to Germany," right? And yeah, when I went to Germany, I they loved me there, man. They treated me like royalty, yeah, like people like I get I felt like I was getting more love in Europe than Central South America and even like the islands, like like in Jamaica and stuff like that, and the Dominican Republic, because I actually dealt with more racism in Cuba, Dominican Republic, and also like Costa Rica and Colombia and these places in Mexico than I did in Europe, right? Because like obviously colorism is like a real thing, right? And so for an example, when I was in the Dominican Republic, this guy was like talking to me and he was saying, "Hey man," he goes, "You're a Negro." He goes, I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "I'm a Negro too." So I was talking to my buddy. I'm like, "What's he talking about?" Right. And then my buddy was saying, "Oh, he's just trying to tell you that he's as black as you." And I'm like, "Okay," but I'm like, "Aren't all Dominicans melanated?" You know what I mean? But he's like, "Yeah, but the light skinned ones don't think they're black."
Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's really a thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Colorism
I
is really a thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then also places like Jamaica, obviously, the people bleaching their skin. And same thing like when I was in Cuba too. Like, they look at me as a Negro, but the light skinned ones, like, they ain't considered Negroes. But in Europe now, so when I was in Prague, Czech Republic, my tour guide, she was just loving me, saying how I love your skin. I love how your skin shines. She said, like, man, like black is so beautiful. And I was just like, wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sucks that I didn't hear this from my own people, right? Because like obviously, like, black people's like the blacker you are is the worse it is, right?
Facts.
Yeah, because here I am, like on the beach in Dominican Republic. I want to get darker, right? And everybody's like hiding from the sun. Like hell no, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, man, just get out the sun, Sheldon. Get out the sun. You're gonna get darker. I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
so
What what are some like I'm gonna call it like just like experiences, especially with I'm gonna call it your superpower, brother, because that's what it is. So
mm,
your other senses are hiding to a high
hmm
level.
no, of course.
How have your experiences been like from country to country that you could say, what, that was a great experience. Whether that be lifestyle, whether it be nightlife, food, let's dive into some of that.
Yeah, man, for sure, my brother, man. So, for an example, when I was in Amsterdam, this tour guide that I had, he brought me down to the Dam Square, and at the Dam Square, they actually have art for the blind. So they have like it's called tactile, where they have like these little like kind of like figurines of like what the buildings around you look like. So obviously I can't see them, so I can feel these little I can feel these little tactile buildings of like what the actual neighborhood looks like by feel, right? And then also too, same thing too in Prague in Czech Republic. They had a lot of just like art there for the blind, where you could just feel what the building looks like. You can feel the bridge and stuff like that. Like it was very very cool. Um, Central America, South America, not so much because like obviously those countries are not as developed as Europe is, but they're getting there because Colombia, they actually had tactile on at their intersections in Cali, so that was a good thing. So they're kind of looking out for the blind in Cali. But also too, what I love is just like the sounds. Like I hear things from a mile away, right? And food, like tastes. Oh man, like the my palate hasn't heightened a lot when it comes to just like tasting foods and stuff like that, and obviously smells as well. Yeah.
Gotcha for
hmm
sure. What from a Europe perspective, how was the food? How was the food?
I would say the food was really good in Portugal. Really, really good. I was down by the docks, and they had some really nice, fresh seafood because Portugal. I was in Lisbon, and Portugal is
Hmm.
really known for their seafood. Um, I didn't really like the food too much in Germany. It's like schnitzel, a lot of sausages. Same thing too in Prague and Czech Republic. There was a lot of meats, goulash, and the UK actually had some really good food because London's very like diverse, right? And
Yeah,
London has some really really good food. Actually, Amsterdam had some good food too, definitely. But I would say overall, out of all the countries I've been to, I would say Jamaica, Panama, and Costa Rica and Colombia had the best food, hands
gotcha,
down.
gotcha,
Yeah, the food in
gotcha.
Cuba
Actually, I
was
was in Panama.
trash.
I was in Panama this past August, man.
Mm.
Costco Viejo. I mean, it's a vibe. It's a vibe out there in Panama for sure.
Oh man, Panama's an amazing vibe. They love reggae music. They love reggaeton.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
it's funny. I never. So see, that's one thing too. So let me take that back. Actually, I never once felt any colorism at all in Panama. They actually embrace their their like melanated skin. You know what I mean? Like they embrace, like they love themselves. Like they love their culture. Like I just felt that vibe while I was there. That like there's a lot of black people that live in Panama. Yeah.
yeah. I came across a old man from Jamaica, actually, from Jamaica, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Jamaicans, a lot of Dominican Republic, Dominicans and Cubans came to build the Panama Canal. Also,
Mm-hmm.
people from East Asia came. His wife, unfortunately, was murdered in this massacre that happened at the Panama Canal. She actually was assassinated, pretty much,
Mm.
because there was a lot of turmoil going on between the U.S. and other people. But it was a definitely an interesting story for sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And brother, how do you go about navigating? your travels? Do you use any particular apps or your favorite? Do you have a dedicated airline, or you kind of just go with the flow wherever you can find the best deals?
I kind of go with the flow where I can find the best deals. So usually when I go to Europe, I usually go around May, March. It's kind of like the best time to go, where it's not too cold, it's not too hot. Because obviously, traveling to Europe in the summertime, it's like they like double up the price on you. Especially flying from Canada, you're literally paying like $2,000, $2,500 for a round trip ticket to like anywhere in Europe. So I usually go like the beginning of spring, like fall. Like last year I was in Prague, Czech Republic in October, and then I was in Germany in February, and I went to Zurich, Switzerland in February. And the crazy thing is actually the weather wasn't too bad actually when I was in Germany in February. Like I was actually wearing just a sweater. Yeah, like the weather is definitely better here in Canada because here in Canada it can get down to like -30, right? But it
Oh yeah.
doesn't get that cold in Europe like how it does here in Canada. So, the weather in Europe is like springtime for us. Like their winters is like our springs, right?
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you say your guy was feeling the skin, man. So I assume
Oh, of
it
course,
wasn't
man. Of
hard for you to
course.
find to navigate those European streets, my brother.
No,
Having those
exactly,
street smarts.
exactly, exactly. And what really made me want to start traveling to Europe because, like, the first year, like I told you, went to the Dominican Republic, loved it. My boy drove me to Santo Domingo, Santiago, Puerto Plata, Sasua, Cabalete. And then after I went back and I lived in Santiago for 2 months. And then when I got back from Santiago, I was like, okay, let me figure where to go next, right? So, bam, I went to Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Brutally hot down there, man. Holy smokes, it was hot. Then after when I got back from Mexico, a week later, I went to Jamaica for 2 weeks. And then after that, I'm like, okay, like this is like killing me, man. Like I need to find somewhere really, like somewhere that's really exciting. So I actually Googled, searched like which country is like, exciting where they have a lot of outdoorsy stuff to do and just safe to be in. So when I Googled it, Costa Rica popped up. And I'm like, okay. So in 2022, I flew to Costa Rica in March, and I was there for about 10 days, and I was in San Jose, and then I went to Jaco Beach, and I loved it there, man. That was my number one country when I was in there. Costa Rica was beautiful. And then when I got back, so that's when I started like posting stuff on the Passport Bro group, right? So I notice now I'm going through the group because I'm so like happy to be part of this group of brothers, right? So because I'm like, this is awesome. I'm a new traveler. I'm gonna like get some ideas from other brothers, like which countries to travel to. Every single day, I'm like, man, is this all these guys? Like, are these the only places these guys travel to? Is Brazil, Dominican Republic and Colombia? I'm like, damn, right? So that's what made me said, you know what, man, I'm gonna do something different. So that's when I'm like, I'm gonna go to Europe. So in 2022, I flew to London, England for a month, and I was having the best time of my life there, man. I was posting pictures of me and some hot snow bunnies. I remember, oh man, I remember I got like 1,000 likes on one of my pictures with a couple of snow bunnies, man. People are like, who is this guy? Who is this blind? He ain't blind. He ain't blind. What the hell is he doing in England, man? You know what I mean? And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to show you guys another one. Boom. Went to Lisbon, Portugal. More snow bunnies. You know what I mean? They're like, yo, this guy's the goats. And I said, yeah, I'm going to turn it up even more. That's when I went to Zurich, Switzerland, Germany. I'm like, yo, man, never mind. Because I want to show these brothers, like, look, man, you don't just have, like, you can have fun in other countries, man. You don't have to just go to Colombia, Brazil, and Dominican Republic, right? Like, yo, I met so many beautiful black people in Germany. When I first got to Germany, I was talking to these girls and they had the German accent, and I'm asking my homie, like, yo, are they white? He's like, no, they're black. I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Dang.
man.
Yeah. Man, you're right. You're right though. Like I said, it's not a knock at them, man. But the big three, man, outside of the big three, you don't really see too many people travel the uncharted paths, my brother. You don't really see that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, for sure, for sure. Man,
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
let's talk about Switzerland. Like,
Of course.
bro, Switzerland looks absolutely amazing. Just the aesthetics, it looks beautiful. What are some things that you did there in Switzerland?
So when I was in Switzerland, I went to Oliver Twist. Yeah, I don't know if you know who Oliver Twist is. He's like an author. He has a bunch of books. So I went to Oliver Twist. I went to his bar, and they were playing like board games there and stuff like that. And then after we went to we went to explore like the train station. After we went to went to Old Town where they had like this like old famous bridge. I can't remember the name of the bridge. And then after we grabbed a bite to eat at this bar called Nielsen Bar. And then we were gonna stay, like I was there for the day, right? I was gonna stay overnight, but Zurich, Switzerland is stupid expensive.
Come on, bro.
That's one European country I wouldn't go back to unless I have a lot of money. Because what happened was, now when we were at that Nielsen bar, I bought a Swiss burger with some fries and a drink. And then when I got my bill, I'm like, okay, I'm like, cool. I'm like, 24 francs, that's not bad. And then my boy was telling me 24 francs is like 39 Canadian dollars.
Whoa.
And I'm like, holy smokes, that's why I pay 39 Canadian dollars for a burger and fries? I'm like, damn. So then after we went to go check out the hotels, and they were looking like they wanted like 500 a night just for one hotel room. Yeah,
Damn.
500 a night. So we just said, you know what, man, screw this. We jumped back into the rental around like 11, 12 o'clock because we were there all day. And then we drove back to Germany because what we did is like, when I was in Germany, we got a rental and we drove on the Autobahn. So it took us about 3.5, 4 hours to get to Switzerland. And then, yeah, we didn't stay there. So we drove back to our hotel in Germany. And then the next day, we drove to Berlin from Frankfurt. That was about 5.5 hours to get to Berlin from Frankfurt. Yeah, and we were in Berlin for the day. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha, man. Let's shift gears because I actually got a homeboy that I went to college with. He's a dancer, and he left the U.S. maybe about a decade ago now. He's been living in Germany for 10 years now. He's
Mm-hmm.
finally got a visa last year, and he says that Germany is definitely a vibe, and Berlin for sure. Like,
Mm.
take us through that, and like because a lot of people look at the history of Germany and based on the Cold War and World War II and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, and they get a misconception of Germany. And what was your experience in Germany? And I heard they like to party.
Oh man, Germany was really really nice. I could actually live there. I would live there. Yeah, my dad actually lived in Hamburg for a few years, and
Okay,
yeah, man, I would definitely live there. Yeah. So when I was in Berlin, now, yes, yes, I went to visit the Holocaust Museum and the grave sites, and I did go see the Berlin Wall and stuff like that. But overall, the people there are very friendly. It's more, I would say it's not as modern as Frankfurt. Frankfurt, obviously, after the war, they kind of like rebuilt Frankfurt. Frankfurt's like very modern, but Berlin still kept their, their history. They kept the buildings the way they are. And I would say, if I was going to pick, because I was staying in Offenbach. So out of all of the spots that I stayed in, I would say Frankfurt was my favorite because Frankfurt was more modern, and the nightlife in Frankfurt was a bit better than Berlin. Yeah, I had more fun in Frankfurt than I did in Berlin because when I was in Frankfurt, I met a bunch of Jamaican people that were living there, and they kind of like showed us around the area and everything. And they have a cool nightlife there. They have a lot of nightclubs there, and they have like a little street where you have all like the bars and clubs where you can just like walk from one bar to another bar from another. You know what I mean, right? Everything's
yep,
all
yep.
on that one strip. But Berlin now, Berlin, Berlin was all right. So Berlin was all right, but I had more fun in Frankfurt. Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha, for sure. What made you decide to want to go to Prague? Because a lot of people don't talk about Prague. Like people talk about the Netherlands,
Oh
Amsterdam.
man.
People talk a little bit about Czech Republic, but Switzerland,
Yeah.
but Prague is like really like off the radar. Like
Okay, so I'm
what
gonna
made
tell
you
you.
decide to go there, and what was
I'm
your
gonna
what was
tell
your experience there?
I'm gonna tell you, man. Is it okay if I do a shout out?
Oh yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. Shout out to International Passport. International Passport was interviewing a brother that was actually in Prague. And man, oh man, he sold me. He was saying how the women there check for brothers. It's affordable. The nightlife is amazing. The people are very friendly. And then another black YouTuber named Joel, I think it was Joel Tamara. He also sold me on going to Prague as well, man. I loved it there. That was kind of like one of my favorite European countries, hands down, Prague. Yeah, it's affordable. I actually came back with money. I came back to Canada with money in my pocket. Everything there's cheap. The women, check for brothers. Yeah, it was really, really, and yeah, like the people are very friendly, man. Very, very friendly. Yeah,
Gotcha. So the nightlife was hitting. That I bet you the nightlife shocked you.
yeah. The
What's the
night.
places people can go to in Prague? You remember the clubs or nightclubs you went to?
So I actually went to a strip club, and then I went to a couple of. So I went to one strip club first, and then after I went to two nightclubs after. I can't remember the names of the nightclub, but I went to one nightclub that has 3 floors. It's the only nightclub in Prague that has 3 floors. One floor is like that techno dance house, like techno house music. Another floor is like hip hop, and I think the other floor would have been some kind of like salsa type of music. But yeah, like the night, I can't remember the name of that nightclub, but if anybody who's listening does go there, just type in the nightclub that has 3 floors in Prague, man. That club was amazing. I met a beautiful girl there from Manchester. Yeah, it was really nice, man. Really, really nice. They actually had a robot in that club serving drinks.
Man, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. My homie said, "Yo, there's a robot serving drinks right now." I'm like, "What?" Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, brother. Look, I know. Look. I gotta ask, and I know you're gonna laugh at this,
Of course.
because I gotta ask, because they had people in the chat that wanted me to ask you this. So, how do you define, or how do you determine, like, if that woman is she's your type, she's it for you? Do you hit her with, you know what I'm saying? You run that game with her. You hit her with they call it that Ray Charles. You take the risk. Like what? How do you how do you
For
like,
me,
yeah, she
for
it. You know
me,
what I'm saying?
yeah, I feel you. I feel you. So for me, it's actually smell. That's
Ah,
the first
okay.
thing is smell. So when I actually hug a girl or if I'm standing like beside her and she smells good, then I'm like, okay, okay. But I mean like that natural smell because I'm blind, right? So I can actually smell through the perfume. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if she has that natural like smell, like that natural like she's actually clean, that's one. Number two is usually when I shake a woman's hand, I would like bring my fingers down to like feel her nails. And if I feel that like, her nails are done right, you know what I mean? She ain't got those long raptor claw nails where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
too ratchet for me. You know what I mean? If her
Yeah.
nails
She
cut
got them
off at
Cardi
a,
B nails.
yeah, exactly. If her nails are short and they're done right, I'm like, okay, she's classy. And then after, I'll ask them straight up. I'm like, hey, can I feel your face? And they're like, sure. And then if I'm feeling her face and I don't, and I'm not feeling like a bunch of braille, I call it braille. You know, the braille bumps.
Yeah.
So I ain't feeling a bunch of bumps on her face, then I know that she's taking care of her face. And then also too, if I don't have to wash my hands after feeling her face because she's caked up with makeup, then that's a good sign.
Always a
Yeah.
good sign.
Yeah. And then also too, obviously when you give a girl a hug, I can obviously feel like, when I put my hand on her back and I'm like, okay, she has a nice body. You know what I mean? It's a
Hmm.
lot of things. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Man. So do you travel? You travel your trips? Have you traveled solo, or are
Oh
you
yeah.
or
I
you
went
normally
to,
link up with your friends? Like how do you like to travel? Or a
so
combination of both?
So what really made my YouTube channel grow a lot is that I actually started traveling alone, and that's why people are like, "Yo."
Mm.
That's when I was getting messages from people saying you're an inspiration because I went to Czech Republic by myself. Yeah.
Wow.
Went to Czech Republic by myself, and I linked up with some strange lady who was a tour guide. And when I met her at my hotel, she was like, "Oh, whoa, you're really blind." And I'm totally, yeah, I'm completely blind. And then she said to me, "Hey, you know what, man? She goes, it'll be an honor if I can just help you for the whole 8 days that you're here, and you don't have to pay me." And I told her, "No, I'll pay you." She goes, "No, man." She goes, "This is going to be such a cool new experience for me because I've never did a tour for a blind person before, just anybody with a disability." So I'm like, okay, yo, she brought me to the opera. She bought the tickets too. She brought me to the opera. She introduced me to her son. She brought me to a hockey game. They love hockey in Czech Republic.
Come
She
on.
brought me everywhere. She brought me to a musical museum where I can play like the instruments and stuff like that. She brought me to the Charles Bridge. Like this woman literally took care of me for the whole entire week for free. I told her not to, but she insisted, man. So I was just like, I was blown away. Also, I went to Cuba by myself, and that was a good
And that's
experience.
a tough and that's a tough country to navigate. For those that don't know, that's a tough country to navigate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really, really was. I was nervous in the beginning, very, very nervous, but I was able to meet people at the resort, and I met the manager's son, and the manager's son, my buddy Fernando. If he's watching this, shout out Fernando. He actually moved to Serbia. That's gonna be my next trip, and he actually helped me out a lot. He brought me to the nightclubs, brought me downtown Varadero. He introduced me to his mom and everything, so he was cool. And then I was in Amsterdam by myself. Yeah, I went to Amsterdam
Wow.
by myself. Yeah, yeah. That was a
That you
cool
participated in the
experience.
extracurricular activities in Amsterdam, my brother.
No, man. No, no, no. I was going to, but I'm like, nah, too expensive. Too
Oh man,
expensive.
my frat brother,
Uh-huh.
he didn't like Amsterdam. Amsterdam. He said it was too many damn bikes everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Everybody
Oh
riding a bike.
man, everywhere, man. Oh whoa. But that's what makes it cool is that like it's a cool, it's like they're like very like environmentally friendly. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing, right? So what I did in Amsterdam, I actually did a canal boat ride, like I told you before. So the tour guide that I was with, he actually allowed me to film through the red light district. So he knew all the bouncers at the windows, and they let me, as long as I didn't videotape the girls, I could film the red light district, and I did that. And then also I went to Mike Tyson's coffee shop. Yeah, that was fun.
Mike got a coffee shop in
Yeah,
Amsterdam.
yeah. It's called Mike Tyson. It's called Mike Tyson 2.0. I did a
Come on.
short video there. Yeah, I did a short video there of trying out some of his products.
I didn't know he was into coffee.
Oh no, actually, well, yeah, coffee and marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Wow, bro.
yeah. And
That's
yeah, like he has a strain down there called Cali Bud. Yeah, so everything there is imported from California.
damn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Mike Tyson, man, yeah. Also, too, I met a lot of women while I was there, man. I got a good mouthpiece, man. Pause. It's like
Yeah.
I met a lot of women there, man. I met this one beautiful girl. She was 6 foot, man. She was from the Ukraine. A lot of these girls in Amsterdam are tall. I met this Australian girl there. Met a girl there from the UK that was with me on the plane. Um, yeah, I met a lot of women. I met a couple of girls from New Jersey. See, one thing that I noticed now when I traveled, and I wish I knew this when I was younger. So when I was in Amsterdam, like places like Amsterdam and Czech Republic, I was meeting a lot of backpackers, right? So I was at one spot where I'm like, why do I feel like an old man at this spot, right? So I'm asking people, yo, how old are you? How old are you, right? A couple of girls
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm 19, 20, 21, 24. And I'm like, so what are you doing here, right? And they're like, oh, I'm here with my friend. We're just backpacking through Europe. And then I was like scratching my head, saying to myself, like, God damn, like it's like a lot of young black people, period, women or men, doesn't matter. A lot of young black people don't backpack at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was kind of like disturbing because I was saying to myself, like, it would have been cool if I had the opportunity at that age to, like, explore the world and, like, broaden my mind instead of hanging in the hood, getting high.
No, facts. Hey, pause. I want to give a shout out as well, man. Shout out to the bearded backpacker. Shout out to my guy, man. I interviewed him a few episodes ago. He actually just backpacked through Pakistan and Iraq, bro.
Mm,
He just came from Iraq. Crazy. Like
right.
I can't wait to dive into that story, man. Shout out to the bearded backpacker, man.
And that's the thing, like, like, hopefully, if I do become a successful YouTuber, hopefully I can start a program where I can help, a black family, a melanated family, and, like, you know, give their kid an opportunity to, like, backpack to whichever country they want to go to. You know what I mean? Like, we need this more in the black community. We definitely need this more in the black community, definitely, because, like,
Man,
I'm
it's not a
meeting.
matter. It's not a matter of if. I'm gonna correct you one time, my brother. It's not a matter of if. It's when. When you
Mm,
become the YouTuber that you want to be. You
yeah.
already know, man. You already on your journey. You already took the first step
Oh,
back in
yes.
2020 to overcome everything that you overcome in your life and have become an inspiration to so many people.
Mm.
And I think I wanna add to give you this question, my brother, is for those people that are on the fence, rather that person is looking to travel domestically or internationally, what message can you give them that if you can do it, they can do it? What kind of message would you give that person to just kind of encourage them to start traveling?
Well, I would just say number one, face your fears. If you are not ready to, like, jump on a plane and fly to another country, I would say, like, pack a bag, take a road trip, whichever country that you live in. Like, don't be afraid to just sit, or even go camping. Like, just get out of your comfort zone and take that leap of faith and start small. Like, if it's like just driving an hour away, out of your city or your neighborhood, and explore a different neighborhood, and that's a good way to, like, meet new people, because, like, the conversations that I have with people today, are not the conversations that I had with people I used to hang out with, like, 14 years ago, right? Like, it's so amazing that, when I'm on the plane, I'm meeting all walks of life from, like, all over the world. Like, it's so amazing that I have friends that live all over the world now. And yeah, guys, like, just don't be afraid, to face your fears, man. That's what I tell people, because I lost my eyesight 14 years ago, and, like, I was scared. Like, I was shitting bricks when I was on the plane flying to Punta Cana. And as soon as I got off the plane and I walked out the airport, it was worth it. Like, yeah, I just felt this huge weight just lift off of my shoulders. It was definitely worth it. Take a family trip with your family, grab one of your best friends, or even just travel alone. Face your fears. Yeah,
Yeah,
what
definitely,
do you got to
definitely,
lose,
brother.
right?
Definitely. No, you can't lose. And then when you lose, it's only a lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, because
exactly,
we all
exactly.
took some losses, as we traveled too. We learned the game. Because I think when
Hmm.
I first traveled to El Salvador, actually the first time I traveled to Colombia, my first time, I didn't do Uber. I had a taxi pick me up. I let the people take my luggage at the airport. They was looking for me to tip them. I end up giving the taxi driver 50 mil pesos, my first time, and didn't realize I gave that man almost, that's a lot of money. So
Mm.
we took losses as well, man. And
Right,
man, I
right, right.
definitely appreciate you, coming on, my brother. I want to take this time out to for you to share out all your social handles, any way we can support you, any way we continue to follow your journey. So I want to take this time out for you to just go ahead on and shout out everything
Oh,
that you
thank
want
you
to
so
shout out, man,
much.
so we can follow you and support you, my brother.
Of course, man. And I just want to say, guys, if you, are gonna travel and you're kind of, not sure which country you want to go to, I always tell, people, go to the Dominican Republic. Like, that's a good spot to get your feet wet. Dominican Republic, it's safe. The people can be friendly at times. And yeah, guys. So you can follow me on my YouTube channel. It's called Sheldon the Blind Traveler, and also Instagram Sheldon the Blind Traveler, and Facebook Sheldon Francis. And yeah, guys, thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, my brother, we definitely gonna have to run it back. We definitely gonna have to go
Hmm.
live, IG, TikTok, maybe do another YouTube live. But my brother, again, I truly appreciate you for coming on. Again, you're one of the main reasons why I wanted to start this platform. So to give our people a voice, to share our stories, to share our experiences. And brother, I can't thank you enough for just coming on, man. The platform, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much for having me on your platform.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And y'all already know my motto. I'll see you at the top because the bottom is just too crowded. Peace and blessings.